Hey, yo, what is good, guys? Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to NextGen Wealth Tips. Today, we're going to be showing you guys what's going on with the market, tell you guys news, some chart trends, and stocks to look at. Right now, we are seeing rising bond yields. It is driven by the strong economic growth and higher than expected inflation, but it does put a lot of pressure in the stock market, and that is why we're seeing a sell-off we have right now. As you guys can see, we're down 3% in Nvidia, almost 3% on Apple, 2% on Microsoft, 1% on Google, and some other stocks are dropping too. Tesla is kind of doing decent. We're not really seeing too big of a drop. We're kind of maintaining that 390. We're going to be looking at it later on the chart. With that being said, weekly we are pretty much red. Also, some stocks like Meta, Walmart, Tesla for the weekly is up, and some other stocks is up. But big stocks like Nvidia and Apple still down 3% for the week, and we're still seeing a constant downward trend. With that being said, we will be looking at everything else. But let's get started with some news. First off, I just want to say a lot of people, a lot of major people, not major people, but a lot of market traders and stuff like that is showing big fear right now. And we've been showing fear for a while. Like a week ago, we have a fear, and a month ago, we've been pretty much neutral. And then we've been extreme greed a year ago, and that's when the market was going up. With that being said, I made a video before explaining kind of that you shouldn't really have fear in this market right now. Reason being, because a lot of people are selling off, and I feel like you're selling off pretty late. We'll have we'll have fear in the market, we'll have a big sell-off, and then with that being said, you will see us touch highs once again. So with that being said, just don't just dollar cost average right now and just have your patience. That's kind of how it is. People like Warren Buffett and stuff like that, and like other people, they did the same thing. They just had their patience and they dollar cost average, and now they're pretty rich, as you guys can see. So I just want to say, don't have fear in the market right now. We're just having a minor correction, and then later we will see all-time highs once again. With that being said, we're going to start off with some top daily gainers. Think we had some Walgreens. Their earnings came out earlier. Walgreens just had like earnings and they had some promising results, so they're up 2% for the day. So that's one thing that I want to look at is Walgreens, but you might see it kind of come back down a little bit later. So keep that on your mind. But that's one of the big earning ones that I wanted to talk about. And maybe Royalty Pharmaceuticals. When you see a pharmaceutical stock go up a lot, that means that it might not stop, and or it might go up and then come back down. So keep that on your mind. Active stocks, we have Nvidia, Walgreens, of course, Palantir. We're going to be talking about Palantir a little bit later. Ford Motors, crazy. But with that being said, let's get started with some news. So basically, one of the arguments towards OpenAI with the OpenAI lawsuit that we have, they violated the law by making their investors agree not to invest in rival AI firms. So basically, if you're invested in the OpenAI, you can't invest in the other AI companies. I mean, it's kind of a smart idea because they're getting all the money for the research and growing their research ability. But with that being said, it's kind of going up against, and it makes them look bad by doing this. But yeah, so keep this in mind while investing in OpenAI and other stocks that is related to it, Microsoft basically, and just let this lawsuit kind of get carried over, especially with the tech sell-off we're having. Another one that I want to talk about is Tesla, and they're recalling 239,000 vehicles with its rear view camera failing. But they said it themselves that if it does not display an image, it reduces the driver's rear view, increasing a risk of a crash. This kind of shows that they care about safety. But with that being said, in 2024 alone, Tesla had 16 recalls and recalling millions of their vehicles. To be honest, I think I personally seen Tesla recall more vehicles than any other company. This is good and bad. It just shows that they're big on safety, but at the same time they have a lot of failures. But I mean, this doesn't make Tesla look bad. I mean, they're kind of recalling their vehicles and making their vehicles look bad. So it's not really too bad, but we're going to be talking about Tesla stock a little bit later, what to expect. But another thing is in Europe, basically, they're upping their emission standards even more, and cars are failing to meet the EU's emission standards. And when they fail to meet it, they basically pay fines. But the emission standards are getting even harsher, and fines are going to be amounting to several billions of euros soon, which is kind of insane. Like, I just wanted to keep that in mind for, if you guys are investing in any Europe countries, or, Mercedes, any companies like that. Just keep that in mind because they might be, it might affect them. But next, we're going to be talking about telecom basically launching AI solutions across its businesses in just 18 months. And if you see like timing wise, like that is pretty good. But with that being said, we're going to talk about what they're doing. So basically, TELUS, I think it's called, rapidly embrace generative AI, creating Fuel X or IX, a platform that scales AI projects and automates processes. This innovation has cut IT support times by 75%. It saved over 500,000 employee hours and generated millions of efficiency gains. Key practices include prioritize privacy and safety and seamlessly integrated AI into workflows. And basically it just makes the process faster, this boost, like this basically 500,000 hours. If you think about that, that's 500,000 hours of employees they didn't have to pay for. I mean, this is pretty bad because 62,000 working days is insane. But this is pretty bad because, I mean, it's good that you're saving time, but at the same time, AI is kind of replacing jobs, and this is going to make us look bad in the future, especially with some things that we're going to be talking about next. But with this being said, this is a good and a bad thing because this does boost times, and you can come out with things sooner, and you can make things sooner and invent things sooner. But with that being said, this is replacing a lot of people's jobs. But keep that in mind if you're investing in telecom. And I think Tesla and telecom kind of linked up, but they're linking up for their telecom server, not telecom services, but the internet services. So it's completely different, but at the same time, they might group together later on. But yeah, but next we want to talk about Apple because as you guys know, Apple is falling a lot recently with the bad news. They got sued and stuff like that, and now their shipments declined in China. I think it declined 6% year over year for the first half of 2025. So their market shares are sliding, and they are down 2.5% today, as we've seen earlier. Also, with that being said, they're expected to launch the new iPhone SE 4. The iPhone SE is basically a cheaper iPhone, but it packs like new updates, like it gets updates frequently, and the new chips. I think recently they fixed the battery too. I think the first SE, the battery life was actually ass, but they're actually coming out with the new iPhone SE 4. So if you guys like the cheaper model, or I mean, this kind of like this like the cheaper model iPhone if you can't afford the good one. It's also a good budget phone, if you want to get a phone for your kid, and it's also like, a tinier iPhone, but it has a new chip in it. So you're basically packing the same amount of power, same amount of like updates, but it just packed into a tinier device, makes it cheaper and better for everybody to use. But with that being said, just like I said earlier, since the Fed said a few weeks ago that we would have fewer rate cuts in 2025, the market has been dropping. With that being said, investors has been looking at how the economy has been moving and using the recent job numbers to kind of see if we will see a rate cut in this meeting or more rate cuts in the future. With the numbers coming out strong, we all have doubt on a rate cut and more rate cuts coming soon. With that being said, we will see a consistent market decline, and we honestly just need big news or something else to get the rate cuts kind of off of our mind and for the market to be back into a bullish trend. Because right now, this is kind of dragging the market down with the good news of the jobs. Honestly, it's kind of messed up because you see the economy doing good, but then it's like, nah, sell off because we're not getting the rate cuts basically. So it's kind of messed up, but at the same time, tumbles nearly 700 points on Friday. So just because we got a strong job report, so that's kind of insane. But next, I want to talk about like the numbers with it. So basically, we're continuing what we said before, but the U.S. payrolls grew by 256,000, and the unemployment rate falls to 4.1%. The broader jobless measures moved down to 7.1%, and the average hourly earnings increased by 0.3% on the month and had a 12-month gain of 3.9%. So these are just numbers that got pretty much added. And it's just a thing on the side, but they're kind of bringing back the TikTok ban once again. I mean, this kind of has been off and on. You see news about it, and then it kind of gets canceled or postponed or something. But they're trying to prove that it is like it violates the free speech protections. So if they can prove this, I think TikTok's fully going to get banned. So if you guys use TikTok, good luck. Switch to Instagram or YouTube Shorts. They might be getting that jump ban, but Yeah, with that being said, let's go look at some market trends. I just want to take a little segment out of the video to explain that we have a Discord now. So if you guys want to join, you guys can. We'll be talking about how to trade, learning with each other, and just giving out ideas. So if you guys want to join, make a community better, you guys can join. If not, it's okay. But if you guys do, join while it's still free. Thank you. Just like I said before, we closed up pretty red on the heat map. So with that being said, let's look at some stocks. So basically, Nvidia has been consistently moving up and down today. Like you've seen it at the highs of, like, I think the highs today was like almost 338, but it didn't really break it. So we basically bounced off the 337 level to say multiple times, as you guys can see. So I think some key lines to look at on the upside is to break that 337 level and probably breaking above that 339 level that where we kind of bounced off of pre-market. So 339 and then go through one, or sorry, I'm saying three. I'm sorry, 140 or 137 level, and then 139 level, 140 level, and then 142 level to the upside. But I don't think we're going up. So to the downside, I'll look at these levels that we were bouncing off of before. So we kind of bounce off that 135 level, kind of 135 level, and then almost 134. So look at those two levels. If they break those two levels, we'll be looking at 133 or 133.9. It's going to be a key level. Bounce off this before and it went all the way up. So once it breaks this level, I'll look at 132, 130, which will be a big level. I think 130 is going to be a humongous level. And once we break past that, we could probably see it at like 129 to 128. And then even going down even more. I mean, if it goes down even more, that's just dollar cost average territory right there. I recommend loading in. So as we seen earlier, Tesla didn't really move too much. I mean, it did move if you're like day trading, like it moved. Let's say if you bought it a put up here at almost 400, where it bounced off the 400 basically, and you bought it up here. So let's say 97 all the way down to 85. That's like a $10 move right there. But with that being said, we kind of bounced off the 400, not really, didn't really touch it, but we bounced off of the 397 level, or 398 level consistently, like a few times today. But it bounced off of that, and then to the downside, we bounced off the 385 level to the 386 level. So just look at these two levels as key to see if it bounces above it. So let's say if we break below the 386 level, we might even see it go down to 384, 382. 380 as a key level, 379 big level 2 going down, 377, 373, and then to the upside, if we see it break, honestly, I think for the upside, I'll be looking at the 400. I'm gonna just skip these levels. Just look at the 400. If it breaks past the 400, we could definitely see it break 405 to the 410, but it might bounce off the 410 and go back down. Or if we keep on going up and we have good news, you can see it, watch the 420 level, and then watch it go up from there. That being said, Apple, we do got some bad news, and it is tumbling with those bad news that we got with the China numbers. But with that being said, with news like that, it doesn't really continue too much. But with that being said, we did bounce from the 233 level. So I recommend looking at that level tomorrow. It's going to be a key level going to the downside, because if we can break 233 tomorrow, or 234 first, and if we break past that 234, we'll be looking at 233. If it breaks below that, we will be seeing it bearish even more, and I'll be looking at the 230 level to see what it does. It might bounce up a little bit and then probably fall back the next day after that. But with that being said, if we do somehow get a good market or get good news for the market, I will be indeed looking at the 240 level. That's a key level, 241, and then 243, and then breaking this line right here that we were kind of moving past. So wherever we are on the market, I recommend looking at this line. But next up, we're going to be looking at the overall SPY. It did break below this level right here with the little wedge we kind of were forming. So with that being said, the wedge kind of isn't really valid no more with that break. But with that being said, we will be looking at some levels that it bounced off of. So basically, it bounced off the 578 level and then didn't break past the 584 level. So with that being said, those are two key levels to look at. If it breaks it, we might be bullish, and if it breaks it down, we'll be bearish. With that being said, we did have a short fall off again, so we can see a retest that 578 level once again on Monday. So if it breaks below that 578, I'll be looking down 577, 575, and then 573. And then one key level is 570. So if it breaks below that, we'll just be bearish for the whole day, which honestly, we might even see that. But if we do have an upside, I like to talk about both sides for my bears and my bulls out there. I don't think it's going up honestly, but if it does, I'll be looking at the upside. I'll look at it breaking the 583, a key level of the 584 level that it bounced off of before, and then going up to 586, 588, 589, 590 is going to be a key level. I don't think it's going to get past 590, but if so, I'll be looking at that 600 level retesting once again. But honestly, I don't think so. If I'm being honest, I'm sorry. Honestly, Bitcoin, we were kind of bullish at first. We had a little minor sell-offs. I think that's when we came out with those job numbers. I think it might have been. I wasn't really paying attention at the time or paying attention to Bitcoin, but we might have fell with that. But if we're not, then something else. But we're overall bullish because we made a higher high right here in these ones. We are making a lower low again, so we might be back in that bearish trend once again, or it might just be falling off a little bit and going back up. So next week we might be looking at that 97,000 level, 98, and then breaking that 100K once again. Hopefully we do. If not, to the downside, we'll be looking at that 93, 91, and then I don't think we'll get to 90, but honestly, you might see a break below 90 next week. But I like to talk about Bitcoin because I like to invest into MSTR, which they just have a big holding in Bitcoin and they just move however Bitcoin moves, basically. It's basically like their profits is based on Bitcoin and they kind of move with it. But right now we're trading at around what, like 328. So that's pretty low, but not really. So it moves with Bitcoin. So if we can break 100K once again, we'll be seeing it back up to this level all the way up here to almost the 400 level. But with that being said, some levels to look at depending on how Bitcoin moves. If we're on an upward trend to Bitcoin, and we might hit like 96 to 97K, we could probably see this all the way up to the 340s to the 350 levels. And then if we can hit 100K, we'll be seeing what we seen the other day, which is around 382. And then if we can break even past 100K, maybe 104, we can see it break that 400 level. But with that being said, we want to get into the stock. We're not trying to, but I mean, if it does get up to those levels like 400 or more, I recommend playing a put because Bitcoin might drop and then the stock's going to drop with it. But if we see it go to the downside and you want to play a call or just buy shares, I recommend waiting for the 287 level, see if it breaks below that 300 level once again. We touched it before, which was a good play right here because look at this one. You hit that 280 level and then you went up to 380, literally $100 within the 3 days later, So we're kind of we're kind of looking for plays like that, but depending on how Bitcoin moves, I think we need Bitcoin maybe at 90K to see it once again. But I recommend looking at it going down to the 280 level and then maybe even buying it at the 300 to maybe 310, 312 level. But right now, just depending on how the market really moves overall, because we do got big fear into the market right now. That being said, we're going to be moving on to Broadcom, a stock that's consistently dropping, just like every other stock, but you see it dropping a lot. With that being said, we'll be looking at the key levels, how it bounced today, 225.74. If it breaks above that, we'll be looking at 227, 228, 230 is a key level, and 231. And then going down, we're going to be looking at 221. And then if it breaks down below 221, 220 is going to be a key level, 219 is going to be a key level, and then 217 to 215. And yeah, with that being said, Palantir has been falling a lot. I feel like it is getting to that territory of being a good buy. But if we do go to the upside, I'll be looking at that 68 level. If it breaks above 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, and then just keep on going up, honestly. And to the downside, I'll see if it breaks below that 65. If it breaks below that 65, we'll be looking at 64, 63, maybe 62, and we might get down below that 60 level, but 60 level is going to be a key level. But honestly, these moves are kind of for the whole week. So if I say it like all the way down to 60, I don't think it's gonna get to 60 on Monday, but it can get to 60 by Friday. So keep that in mind when I tell you guys these levels. Don't expect it to drop this much, as much as I say. At the same time, a stock that I kind of want to point out that's been kind of healthy throughout this whole downward trend is GameStop. Honestly, we've been maintaining that $30 level for a while now. So I just wanted to keep that in mind while we're in this little market right here. Just wanted to point that out. But with that being said, I want to say thank you for watching the video. We are in that red territory right now, and I just want to say be careful out there trading. Don't overtrade. Maybe limit how much money you're spending on your trades, just so you don't blow your account. Understand having stop losses and stuff like that is key for right now. Do not have too much fear though. If you have shares and you're down a lot, the stocks normally rebound, and they rebound a lot more than what we've lost. So just keep that in mind in the future of trading and just trading right now. Don't get too scared. Just take your time, guys, and do your research on everything. If your stock is looking strong, there's no reason for you to sell right now, especially something like Nvidia. Like you see Nvidia dropping, but it is pretty strong, a strong stock and a strong business. There's no reason to sell it because long term you're going to see it bypass whatever highs it had before. So yeah, check out those links in the description below to help me support me. I put a lot of time and effort into these videos. I also have a free Discord. It's free for now, so join while you can. And thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.